All right, hello once again. Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. And as part of the Rankin Technical College AWD, or Application and Website Development Program, and in particular the AWD1100 C# Programming Fundamentals class, I'm doing a series of video presentations based on the textbook we're using for that class, and that book is Muroc C# 2015. The book has 26 chapters, and I'm into Chapter 3 on how to code and test a Windows Form application. So where we left off last time, we've got our program up, we've got our program running, okay, and we added comments to our program. Now I can go back and add comments to here too. Clear out the 4 text boxes, and that's what this line, this line, this line, and this line are doing. Set focus to text box subtotal field. Alright, so that's done. And I can put in here, ask user if she or he wants to exit program now. If yes, exit program. If no, stay in program. Again, I'm going nuts here on purpose because this is an early program with a lot of comments in here, so you can see exactly, hopefully, what's going on in each line. Alright, file, let's just do a save all because we did make some changes. Alright, now jumping back into our book, the author says here on this slide, coding rules. No, these are typically what most people do. They use spaces to separate words. This one is a rule. Visual C# is a case-sensitive programming language. Yeah, each statement must end with a semicolon. Depending on how you write it, you typically write blocks of code, and they are within curly braces. When you make mistakes, they get red squigglies underneath, and your code window will come up showing you this. What do I mean? Let's go back to our program, which works, but I'm going to make it not work. I'm going to go to this line right here, and I'm going to remove the comma. All right? And you say, well, what did that do? Well, I'm going to run the program now. And it says, hey, there were errors. When you get this, 99.999% times out of 100, just say no right here. And it'll show you what your error is. It says syntax error. If I double click on it, it says right there, a comma was expected. So it's trying to help me. If I go and leave off a semicolon, now it gives me an error semicolon expected. And it tells me the line number where the error was discovered. So if I double click there, it's showing me where the error was. Instead of this dot close, what if I misspell it? Say this dot close. I get a different error. It says, I don't know what this means. All right. The act of hunting down those errors and fixing them is what's known as debugging a program. We'll get into that in more depth and breadth of coverage later on in the book. The author says this is readable, okay, but you literally could write it like this. You don't want to do that. You want to make it as easy for the person using it as possible. Okay. So again, these 3 things are recommendations. And I try to use them also. As you enter code in the code editor, Visual Studio will do some adjusting for you. All right. So notice the author just put one big comment up here. Sometimes that's called a a prologue to explain what's going to happen. I put a lot more comments in throughout. There is a single type of comment, which is just 2 forward slashes. Then everything to the right of that line for the rest of the line only is a comment. Or if you start it with a slash star, everything that you put until a star slash becomes a comment. Now, they do show you something kind of neat in here, so I'm going to show it to you. What if I was running the program and I got a lot of errors, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out why? But let's just say I knew it was somewhere in this button clear event. I can highlight these lines, so that's highlighting the code, okay? Then I can move over to here, which is real close to the end, and I can click right there, and now I commented out a bunch of code. And the one next to it will uncomment. Again, you'll see this as we go through it in class. By no means am I trying to show you too much or confuse you, but I might be anyway, even though I'm not trying to. All right. Stuff for the text editor, yeah, that's all fine. I just showed you the commenting outs. Collapsing sections of code. If I don't want to see part of my code here, notice if hey, I know the button clear works. I don't want it to show on my screen. See where it says minus? I click there, and I can click the next one, and I can click this one, and you'll notice how small my code gets. All right? And then I can expand them. So when there's a plus sign there, it means that there's code that's underneath. If there's a minus sign there, that means it's possible for me to hide some of that code if I'm so inclined. Again, that's one of those things people tend to either use a lot or very rarely, if ever, use it all. Everyone's different. You'll all learn how to do this stuff, and you'll do it in different ways. The bottom line is when you get done, is the result correct? All right. Here they're showing you a little bit of, again, IntelliSense. So notice if I come in here, and I'm going to take this line right here. For now, I'm going to comment it out. Okay? And I'm going to type in text box subtotal, so it knows that's the one I want. So I can either hit the tab key, or I can double click on this, and it puts it in. Then if I put in a dot, it says, oh, what do you want to work with here? And you'll notice there's a lot of stuff. Well, I want the text, and it remembers this because I've already used it there. So again, I can hit tab, or I can double click it. I don't want text, I want focus. So if I say dot F, now it only shows me the stuff that starts with F. If I put FO, it says, oh, you probably want focus. Double click it, boom, it puts that in. I put in the parens, and everything is cool again. All right. These code snippets, we'll talk about that in more depth and breadth of coverage as we go on. All right. There's a lot of different ways you can use the editor. There are a lot of shortcuts. There are a lot of niceties. The ones that I use the most often are going to be ones that I'm going to show you. All right. Notice online help. So if I'm writing my program, and you know what, I'm having a problem. I don't remember what focus even does. I can click on focus, hit my F1 function key, and it'll bring out the online help. Notice the focus method. Just a little convenience that Microsoft has built into this for us. You've already seen that. We've already run it. I've already shown you what happens when there is an error. So when I put in a non-numeric value, so you saw that. All right. We've tested it already with valid data and with invalid data. And you saw what it looked like when it was, basically broken. All right. There's a lot more to this, as you'd probably guess. Now, FYI, the next chapter in this book, Chapter 4, is on how to work with numeric and string data. Okay? What I am going to end up doing, in fact, I'm not going to start it right now, but I could. What I am going to end up doing, before we go into this, no, I don't see. What I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to build a project that we will be adding to in different chapters. So I am going to create a project that's going to be called Payroll, and I'm going to try to put into it a lot of the information from Chapter 2 and 3. Chapter 1 was just kind of an introductory chapter. But I'm going to try to add information in here from both Chapter 2 and Chapter 3. All right? And this, again, will be kind of a revolving project or an evolving project. So I'll be back with that one in just a couple minutes.